Hey everybody, today I'm going to make a quick video talking about So Clover, which is a 2021 party game published by Repos Production. This one accommodates 3 to 6 players and takes around 30 minutes to play. So if you're familiar with Repos, they had a smash hit a couple of years ago with just one. Also made some other great party games such as Concept. So this is another spin on a word association game with a bit of a difference, as each player is going to get given one of these plastic boards here representing a clover, and you've got a bunch of these cards here with these square shape, and on the other side you've got a bunch of words on each edge of those cards. And then what you're going to do randomly, you're going to assort these cards out on your individual clover, and the idea is that secretly you're trying to write a couple of clues on each of the sides of the clover where the words match each other. So the idea is I'm trying to get a word to connect balcony and green together in this example. So maybe I'll do something like plant, or sausage and rice. You could do like dinner or food, and so on. And everyone's going to be doing this at the same time. And once everybody's written their clues out, you're going to take all those cards, and you're going to shuffle them together with one from the stack, just to kind of throw a wild card in there. And then once that's done, you're going to go from player to player, trying to work out how you can fit these cards back into the player board, matching those words up accordingly. But of course, the player who wrote those words down isn't allowed to join in. So just to show you through the thought process on each of these games, I've done one here myself. I've got the 4 original cards and of course 1 wild card, but we don't know which one's which, and we're trying to fit them back in that board so that everything lines up and makes sense. So let's start with one here. Let's say we've got the biology clover, so we're looking at anything that relates to biology. So maybe something like science would work, or something like bone, or even degree would work. So what you'd be trying to play with those cards, not only trying to make sure that they fit there, but also the adjacent clover faces as well. So maybe science and cross would fit, or bone and biology, and there is a band called Ghost, so maybe that would fit. You've got dish here. Maybe dish would work with washing, but does washing and does business and ambulance line up? Maybe not. Does business, let's have a look here, maybe something like myth and dish. There we go, that's mythical. Ghosts, and there's a band called Ghost. You wash the dishes. What other one is going to fit here to be the final one? So let's say maybe soap and the washing, quilt and ambulance. Sometimes ambulance give you a blanket or a quilt. Maybe that would fit. So let's just say we lock that one in. Then the person who was the original person to write these words down are going to say if it's correct or incorrect, and they're going to either, if it's incorrect, they're going to remove the card that was incorrect, and then you're going to have a second shot. So in this example, this one was not correct, so I'd remove it from the game, or at least put it back to the side, and then the other players will have one last chance to try and work out what is the one that fits here. So naturally, they put this one here because siren and ambulance match up, and apron and washing match up. And then you're going to give a number of points out determining, or based on the fact on the amount of cards you've got right. So in this example, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 all in the correct place. You'd get 4 points. However, if you were to do it right on the first attempt, then you'd get a bonus 2 points for a total of 6 points. And it's as simple as that. You're working together. It's a purely cooperative game, and you're working trying to beat your highest score, getting a maximum of 6 points per clover. And that's pretty much all this game has to offer. So it's a very simple word association game. These kind of games generally go well over for me. I do enjoy word association. I love party games as a whole. And this one has that kind of unique gimmick with these clovers. And I will say one of the things that really I was quite sceptical of and a bit apprehensive about was how easy this game was going to be. I really thought this would be very simple, because normally you'd think they'd only fit back in the clover in one particular way. But as you can see then, that's not always the case. And even knowing the answer myself, there is still some scope for confusion, and sometimes you just don't see other ways that these cards can fit in, and you kind of contaminate your answers and confuse your teammates. So there is still a lot of scope here to get things wrong. It's still pretty tricky and pretty difficult, and you do have to work carefully with your teammates to try and get all those word clues back in their right places. So I really do like this concept. It works well. The actual words themselves on the cards are a bit more tricky than your average word association game. Not the easiest. You've got some more complex words here, and you've got a whole bunch of them, of course, so every single time you play this game, you're going to orientate them in different ways, so you've got pretty much infinite replayability and infinite scope to get different, get different words each time you play this one. So again, anybody can really understand, anybody can join in. Sometimes it can be a bit paralysing when giving those clues in the first place, particularly if you have a bunch of words that just do not go together at all. It can be very difficult, and you have to just work with what you've got, but that is all part of the fun. But that kind of goes into my next point. That's probably the only negative about this game is that scope for paralysis. So sometimes, a bunch of people might have some relatively easy words, or at least words that kind of synergize with each other quite well. They'll get other answers done in a couple of minutes, and then the other player who's really struggling can take, double or triple the amount of that time, while everyone else is just sat around, pondering and twiddling their thumbs. So there is a little bit of scope there, and also when you are the one who's having your sheet guessed by the other players, you're not really involved, and it can again feel like a bit of a slog, particularly if it's a particularly a difficult Clover to work out. But regardless of that, it's still a fun experience. This has gone down very well with who I've played this with so far. It's so easy to understand, has a good kind of gimmick and a good piece of a component here, a physical component to make this game stand out and feel different. It has a good little presence here, and it just works well. So this is another solid party game. I think this is going to be a hit, perhaps not quite as big of a hit as a game like Just One, because Just One was just so accessible. It really did have that more of a timeless, a bit more an approachable feel to it, whereas this one is kind of half a fraction more complex and a bit more gamey. But I still like it, and I to be honest, out of the two, I don't know which one I prefer. I think I like them both equally, which is quite a lot. So these are two very, very solid party games, and So Clover is just a new kind of addition and a new twist on the word association genre of party games. So I would recommend this one if you do like your party games. Want something a little bit more thinky, and of course you want something cooperative, then I'd definitely consider checking out So Clover, because I really did enjoy it. So that is So Clover. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you found it useful or at least somewhat entertaining, then please hit like and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Additionally, if you wish to support the show, because I am a one-man operation and I don't get any support from publishers, then please consider backing on Patreon at patreon.com/chairman of the board, where you can back for as little as £2 per month. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.